door feeling happier than when they came in, then I feel I've done my job.
1 o'clock, bang on the dot, most of the 10,000 people sit down to lunch. And that's all part of the big gamble. Food is very important when you're on holiday.
Usually very nice, very well laid out, very clean, always cold water on the table. The lunches are very, very good in themselves, very sustaining. They keep me going quite well.
Believe me, it's really lovely to just go down, sit down and have your lunch brought to you. An hour or two do play up sometimes at meal times, but on the whole they are behaving very well down here, much better than they do at home normally.
Of course, when you've worked for a person that spends in the region of 2,000 a year on food, it makes one rather critical. But then I'm not here to criticise, I'm on holiday, I'm just relaxing. If I went down into that kitchen for an hour, I could organise a 5-course meal consisting of tomato soup, fried fillets of Dover sole, roast fillet of beef, followed by a chocolate souffle with cream, and then a cheese savoury, followed by coffee.
We usually come into lunch about 1 o'clock, appreciate the variety of the menu as much as the elasticity of the hour for lunch, which extend normally from about 12 till 2. The actual food, of course, I say this with all due respect to my wife, is more varied than one gets at home, and one has a choice, and one appreciates the fact that one can choose perhaps hot or cold meals according to the state of the weather or one's own inclination.
Others take their lunch according to their inclinations.
Fancy carrying this thing along the beach for 12 weeks. I'm going to get one with wheels on next year.
Two o'clock in the afternoon, at the height of the holiday season. Three o'clock, everybody's back on the beach. The sun is a little hotter now, and home seems a long, long way away.
I'm getting a relaxation here. I'm not having to worry about the job. The routine is another thing I'm getting away from. The business of coming home in the evening, sitting down, not seeming to be doing much after that, then going up to bed, up the next morning, out to work again. Every day seems the same. Even weekends are beginning to look the same now.
I don't seem to have the worries I've got at home. Shopping, that's another thing, drives me up the wall at home. We haven't got that here.
I think that myself, that if I run a boarding house, personally, I could put on a better bill of fare and make the meals more enjoyable.
If I didn't have children, I'd probably go to the seaside, but to a place with much more life. Dancing, fun fairs, entertainment. I love crowds. And in a small place, you don't get too many crowds.
Well, if I didn't have children, well, I think I'd go lots of places of interest that I've never been to. I'd go to the Broads, go to Lake District, Scotland, Wales. I think I'd go anywhere, really, where I could have a bit of relaxation and entertainment in the evening. I like an occasional dance, and I like the drink. My real ambition is to go to a holiday in Spain and see a bullfight. That's what I really want to see before I finish.
After lunch, we usually go down to the jetty. I like the jetty, I think, better than any other part of Broadstairs. It has such an old-world atmosphere about it. Indeed, I think it is the oldest part of Broadstairs. I like the smell of the tarred ropes and the seaweed and the masts of the boats in the harbour swaying gently from side to side. It gives it such a nautical aspect. Dorothy, that's my wife, and I usually sit in deck chairs. I read. I always take a naval book or some sort of a story of the sea. I find that the sea breaking round the jetty gives me, shall we, an added atmosphere in reading the book. rather like going to a cinema with stereophonic sound. My wife, she busies herself with her knitting, and Valerie usually goes off to watch the fishermen or look at the boats bobbing in the harbour.
Not everybody is content to sit by the sea or on the sea. Some people actually go in it, and that's where the man in charge of the sea takes over.
The duties of a harbour master in a seaside resort is vastly different to that of a commercial harbour. One of my duties is the interests of the public whilst bathing. We employ safety boatmen. There's one out there now, for instance. His job is a very tedious one. Holidaymakers often say to me they envy him, but I wouldn't have his job for all the tea in China. He's got to sit out there, rolling, rocking around, putting up with the shouts and the screams of the holidaymakers enjoying themselves, keeping a weather eye on all the bathers that decide they're going to swim the channel, and they decide they're going to swim out beyond this old pier. They go out there, the safety boatman goes after them and usually warns them. He doesn't always get a kind remark back. Sometimes he's told to go to hell. Another time he's told, don't you worry about me, old chap, I'm insured. But we've yet to see insurance cars holding anybody up once they get into trouble.
Well, I suppose people at the seaside tend to take life a bit light-heartedly, but behind the scenes there are some who take it rather more seriously.
Now, gentlemen, we come to minute number 242. This concerns the renewal of the privilege of operating the Peter Pan Railway on the sands. Call upon Councillor Valsler.
Madam Chairman, I consider we should not allow the Peter Pan Railway to continue. We have seen the town go down and down with each new commercial innovation.
Madam Chairman, as a lifelong resident of this town, I maintain Broadstairs does not want this kind of entertainment. We definitely can do without this exploitation, and I consider this is only the thin end of the wedge. And if we allow this thing to continue, we should presently have a fun fair, possibly coconut shies, and all the various things which go with this type of entertainment.
Madam Chairman, I'm appalled by the previous speakers who seem to me at least 3 or 4 decades out of date. The Peter Pan Railway has transformed a useless and untidy corner into a place of pleasure and happiness.
Madam Chairman, I feel sure that Queen Victoria and Charles Dickens would not receive too great a shock if they came to Broadstairs again, and I'm certain they would approve the Peter Pan Railway.
All those in favour?
7.
Those against?
5.
The motion is carried, and the Peter Pan Railway will continue to operate on our sands.
And the children continued to enjoy it all.
There is always one child that follows me about the beach and never leaves my side. Normally, I suppose one people would get fed up with the kiddie, saying, Uncle Smokey, the same child all the time, but I don't know, they're all the same, they're very nice. If we didn't have him following us, well, there wouldn't be no clowns, would there?
4 o'clock, I need hardly say, is tea time, and for Mr. Gowland, something of a butler's holiday.
I think that through lack of experience, they don't just put the various things in, the condiments into the food to make it exciting as one normally does. And one is naturally coming away from one's own kitchen and feels that if the food is up to scratch, then the holiday is perfect.
Five o'clock and the drift away from the beach begins. The day isn't over yet, but 10,000 people know that bang on the dot, that bell's going to ring again and there's another meal to catch.
When it's very hot and people come back from the beach, they don't really want a hot stew. I think that a nice salad with a bit of cold ham or a bit of cold tongue, or even I've talked to people that would much prefer to have just a nice thick slice of bread and butter with a hunk of cheese and a few pickles.
Even with a widened sphere of travel, I do feel that my holiday is not complete without at least a short visit to the English coast. And there's nothing, in my opinion, which comes nearly up to the joy and pleasant restfulness of an English summer holiday by the sea.
Of course, we are very lucky. We've had wonderful weather on this holiday. It's been really marvellous. I hate to think what it would have been like if it had rained every day, the normal English summer.
I think if we didn't have good weather, I'd be really cheesed off, wouldn't know what to do.
It's a whole gamble. The whole of a holiday's a gamble. Weather, everything. You never know what you're going to do when you get here. You just take a chance, and if the weather's good, we have a good time.
Yes, you have a good time, something money can't buy. But for the people behind the scenes, a good time means millions of pennies for looking through telescopes, millions of pennies for sitting in deck chairs. For them, the big gamble pays off in terms of hard cash. But for most of us, a day by the sea is not a profit or a loss. It's something we remember all our lives. Nobody seems to have done very much, but as the day draws to a close, something seems to be over.
Hello, Uncle Smokey. I've come to say goodbye.
You've come to say goodbye?
Yeah.
So you're going home tomorrow, are you?
Yes, I am.
Have you had a very nice holiday?
Yes, thank you.
Well, cheerio. Bye-bye.
Cheerio.
See you again next year.
Right. Cheerio.
Bye-bye.
7 o'clock, and for the children, the day is over.
Well, after we've had our supper, we go up and start the routine of getting the children ready for bed. They're really ready for it by then. They've been so busy during the day doing nothing. We get them into bed, and then the thing I really look forward to is getting myself ready to go out for a couple of hours.
Light music, I think, is the ideal fare for evening listening, particularly at the seaside. One doesn't want anything too heavy.
We usually go down to the local pub, have a drink. I usually like a brown and mild, and Pat usually has a gin and pep.
The cabbage is soggy, potatoes are parboiled instead of being fully boiled, and they just sit there and play with it, and really they're ravenous.
Whether they're grumbling about the food or dreaming of going to Spain, whether they're escaping from city life or just remembering, people seem to go on going to the seaside all their lives. 8 o'clock in the evening. A fine, warm day is ending.
Hello, Arthur.
Hello, Les.
Had a good day?
Well, with the weather like it is today, one just can't go wrong, but this wretched wind's freshening up now, so let's hope it'll clear off by tomorrow. How about yourself?
Apart from one or two of those tiny complaints, things have gone pretty well.
Good.
It's been a nice sunny day. People have been enjoying themselves.
And now they've all gone home. 10,000 people, 6 donkeys, a toy railway, and 1 clown.
Oh, when I finish my day's work, I look forward to tomorrow's day's work. One day's exactly the same as another, and well, I'm always glad when the next day does come. To hear the children all happy again, laughing.
Yes, and there'll be 10,000 people back on that beach tomorrow, if it doesn't rain. Why do people like to be beside the sea? I don't know. But one thing I do know. 17 million of us will all take the big gamble again next year.